Like and subscribe right now, or this spider will crawl on your face when you're sleeping. Have you ever held onto your armrest on an airplane going through turbulence as your stomach twists, softly praying you'd make it through? Fortunately, this isn't a frequent case. However, for some airports, every landing and takeoff is an adventure, one that literally makes your heart stop. From landing on a slopy runway to taking off next to the Himalayas, here are the 10 most dangerous airports in the world. Number 1 is literally on the water, so watch out for that. Number 10. Courchevel Airport, French Alps. The French Alps paint a picturesque scenery of the gorgeous frosty-tipped mountains and skiing. But if you've landed at the Courchevel Airport, the scenery may be associated with danger in your brain. Video of a landing at the Courchevel Airport went viral a few years ago, as it has one of the shortest runways of any airport in the world at 525 meters or 1,722 feet. Not only this, but the paved runway has a downward slope of 18.5%, which makes taking off even more difficult. This slope makes taking off difficult and is reachable through deep valleys where only certified pilots are allowed. There's no second chance landing here due to the runway position, and pilots must make it perfectly the first time. And to make matters worse, this airport offers no lights or instrument aid, so in bad weather, landing is impossible.
Before we move on, I've got a little challenge for you that'll take 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and you'll get 25 years of amazing luck. Try it. It really works.
Number 9. PARO Airport, Bhutan. This is definitely one of the most dangerous airports in the world, as only 8 pilots are qualified to land flights here. Tucked away in the Himalayas, PARO Airport in Bhutan lies about 1.5 miles above sea level. Sounds pleasant enough, but be mindful that the airport is surrounded by sharp peaks up to 5,500 meters tall. Its runway is 1,980 meters long and only allows for arrivals and departures during the daytime. The most difficult part is that pilots cannot see the runway at all until the last minute, as they must maneuver between mountains at a 45-degree angle before finally dropping quickly onto the runway. At one point during the approach, planes must come extremely close to mountaintop homes, and one red cliffside home even serves as a key marker for pilots. Number 8. Gibraltar International Airport. Gibraltar Airport might be the most unusual one in the whole of Europe. This 5,500-foot runway of this airport is not really that hard to land at, but it's the city that creates the problems for planes. The runway crosses the main road in and out of the British overseas territory, and consequently, traffic has to be closed every time a plane lands or departs. There's a stoplight on the road telling cars to stop, but there have been a number of close calls in the airport's history. The highway crossing isn't the main issue for pilots, though. It's the strong turbulence and wind shear around the Rock of Gibraltar and across the Bay of Algeciras that makes landing here a challenging affair and particularly uncomfortable. The short runway also ends abruptly at the sea on both ends, forcing pilots to stop very quickly immediately after landing. Diversions and go-arounds are common, especially in the winter. Number 7. Princess Juliana Airport. Holidaymakers gather on Maho Beach in St. Martin for the best Instagram shots of Boeing 747s soaring just a few meters overhead. Also called the St. Martin International Airport, it's located on the Dutch side of the island of St. Martin. This airport caters to around 1.6 million passengers annually, and yet is one of the most dangerous as well as the most fascinating ones. The reason to worry is not just the low-flying planes, but the runway, which starts just past the beach and has at times blown off the beachgoers into seawater. The real test of the pilot is when taking off, as one has to brush by the mountains. People here enjoy the view of planes taking off and landing. You'll find many beachgoers with their phones and cameras out as a plane is spotted approaching the airport. However, additional fencing has been created to prevent the people from entering the runway, as people who used to come in for the thrills would get blown away by the jet blast from the aircraft. In 2017, a New Zealand woman died from injuries sustained by a jet blast from a departing plane. Number 6. MCMURDO Air Station, Antarctica. It's hardly surprising that the least traveled continent does not have the most hospitable conditions or infrastructure to support a functioning runway. In the perpetually freezing climate, even the runway is manufactured from ice. Not everyone needs to go to Antarctica all the time, so the airport is not exceedingly developed. The planes need to land on sleek, manicured ice, and if one isn't careful, it could cause a bad accident if it skids. The weight of the plane needs to be checked carefully so it doesn't end up cracking the landing strip or so that it doesn't get stuck in the snow. In 1970, a C-121 slid off the runway and still sits off to its side, buried in the snow. During the winter, the area is dark 24 hours a day. The airport has no lights on the runway, and during the frequent whiteouts, pilots must land blind using night vision equipment. If you think that's scary, watch out for number 1. Number 5. NARSARSUAQ Airport, Greenland. One of 2 airports in Greenland capable of serving large airliners, NARSARSUAQ Airport is located in Tunuliarfik Fjord in the country's southern tip. This airport is no child's play. Pilots must deal with strong winds, severe turbulence, and wind shear in a mountainous landscape. Much like Antarctica, this airport stays covered with ice most of the time, making it one of the most dangerous airports in the world. Though it is an unfrequented place, many visit Greenland to experience the northern lights. The frosted runways are only one of the reasons the airport is feared by pilots. Amidst fjords, the airport is subject to harsh winds and fog that contribute to the unfavorable conditions for landing. If this has worried you, be wary of the active volcanoes in close vicinity that randomly erupt ash, adding to the long list of problems at the runway. Would you still want to go and see the northern lights? Number 4. TENZING-HILLARY Airport, Nepal. TENZING-HILLARY Airport, also known as Lukla Airport in Nepal, is the prime airport for anyone who is visiting Mount Everest. Though it's not used extensively for commercial and international travel, it's still a popular airport. The runway is surrounded on all sides by the steep Himalayan terrain, with a mountain shelf on one side and a steep drop into the valley below on the other side. The airport runway is extremely short at just 527 meters long, although it also slopes uphill with a gradient of almost 12%, which helps planes to slow down in time. To make matters worse, there is no go-around procedure because of the surrounding mountains. If you think that's all, then you're in for a surprise. The airport sometimes loses electric power, cutting off communication with the controllers. This makes landing risky even in perfect conditions. Given these factors, only helicopters and small fixed-wing propeller planes are permitted to land. Since 1973, there have been several accidents on the airport that resulted in many deaths and injuries. Number 3. TONCONTIN Airport, Honduras. Since 1989, there have been 6 fatal airplane crashes on approach or takeoff from Toncontin International Airport. Known as the most complex airport in the world among pilots, the airport is situated 1,000 meters above sea level with a runway length of 7,000 meters. In addition to the short runway, pilots must navigate through the mountains to reach the airport, all the while battling strong winds. Once touched down, departure is not much more straightforward. Once airborne, aircrafts must ascend quickly to avoid the mountains that surround the airport. As we said, it's really very complex. In 2010, the History Channel voted Toncontin International the second most extreme airport in the world. And with that, it's now time for today's subscriber pick. Today's photo was sent to us by a subscriber. If you come across a photo online and want to know more details about it, just send it over to us. We might even feature it in a future video. Number 2. This is a Photoshop picture of an airplane landing on water, but we get the idea behind it. There have been times when planes ended up using water as a runway, the most famous case being the landing of Flight US 1549 in the Hudson River. Another time, a plane ended up crashing in water after running out of runway on the Gustav III airport because it was just too short. Fortunately, no one was severely hurt in either incident, except for the plane companies who probably lost millions of dollars. Number 1. Cristiano Ronaldo Airport. At the top of our list, we have the Madeira International Airport. This airport has had a lot of media attention over the years, from changing its name in honor of footballer Cristiano Ronaldo in March of 2017 to being awarded the Outstanding Structure Award in 2016. However, it's also known as the most dangerous airport on the planet. On the 29th of March 2017, the airport was rebranded and renamed Cristiano Ronaldo International Airport in honor of the legendary football player born on this island. Relatively a small-sized runway, this area was built to meet common needs, like landing Ronaldo's private jets. The runway was once infamous for its small size, but over the years, it's been expanding. And in the year 2000, the runway was 2,781 meters, which is almost doubling the size of the original runway. The harsh weather conditions on the island make plane operations of landing and takeoff very dangerous. Pilots landing at this airport will need to maneuver through winds on narrow runways with a 150-degree turn to land. Though the airport sits 190 feet above sea level, part of the runway is suspended over the sea, supported by 180 columns. What's more, the airport is surrounded by hills. No, they're not named after Ronaldo, if that's the question on your mind. Which one of these airports would you like to visit first? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.